The wind howled like a betrayed lover as Serafina stumbled out the front door, her mother's voice still echoing sharp as shattered glass behind her. "You're no daughter of mine, not after that filth you brought into this house." Snowflakes stung her cheeks, already numb from the cold and the weight of the words she'd never imagined hearing from the woman who'd raised her alone after Dad walked out when she was 6. She clutched her coat tighter, the thin fabric no match for the blizzard ripping through the quiet suburb of Elmwood, Illinois, a place where winters buried secrets deeper than roots. Serafina had always known she was different. In high school, while her friends giggled over boys at Friday night bonfires, shed steel glances at the curve of Linda's neck, the way her laugh lit up the dark. But she buried it deep, painted it out in furious strokes on canvas after canvas, hidden away in the attic studio her mother had built for her 10th birthday. Art was her escape, her confession without words. College in Chicago had cracked that shell wide open, a women's studies class where Professor Hale quoted Audre Lorde, and suddenly Serafina wasn't alone. She met girls who kissed like they meant it, who held her hand in broad daylight on the L train. But coming home for Christmas 3 years later at 28, she'd promised herself she'd stay quiet. Until Angelica Ramirez had slipped into her life like sunlight through a storm window. They met at a gallery opening in the West Loop, Serafina debuting her latest series, abstract swirls of color that whispered of hidden desires. Angelica was there on a whim, dragged by a coworker, her dark eyes locking onto a piece called Fractured Bloom, a riot of reds and blues bleeding into each other. "That's how it feels," she said, standing too close, her voice low and steady like she was confessing to the painting itself. "To want something you can't name?" Serafina turned, and there she was, 30 years old, a social worker from the South Side with a smile that promised safety and hands that trembled just a little when they brushed. Mexican-American roots shining through in the gold hoop earrings and the faint lilt when she said her name like an invitation. They talked for hours that night, spilling into a dive bar where the jukebox played old soul tunes. Angelica shared stories of her caseload, kids pulled from homes that hurt more than helped her own coming out at 19 to parents who'd cried but hugged her anyway. Serafina confessed her fears, the small-town shadows that still clung. By closing time they were kissing in the alley, snow dusting their shoulders, soft and forgiving. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of late-night calls, shared sketches over coffee at Angelica's cramped apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. Serafina painted Angelica into everything, the arch of her brow, the way her fingers traced lazy circles on Serafina's thigh in the quiet after. "Love," she thought, finally unafraid. "This is what it looks like." But Christmas Eve changed it all. Serafina brought Angelica home unannounced, a bottle of her mother's favorite Merlot in hand as a peace offering. They'd planned a quiet dinner, just the 3 of them, or so Serafina hoped. "Mom, please," she begged over the phone last week. "She's important to me." Her mother's silence had stretched long enough to chill. When the door opened, Evelyn Harrison's face was a mask of forced warmth, her eyes flicking over Angelica like she was sizing up a stray dog. Come in," she said, voice tight as piano wire. "Let's eat before it gets cold." Dinner started civil enough, turkey slicing into the air like accusations. Angelica tried charm stories of holiday drives, delivering toys to shelters, her laugh filling the awkward gaps. Serafina watched her mother poke at the stuffing, the lines around her mouth deepening with each bite. Then it came, the question casual as a knife slip. "So how long have you two been seeing each other?" Evelyn asked, her fork pausing midair. Serafina reached for Angelica's hand under the table, felt the warmth steady her. "A few months," she said, soft but sure. She's my girlfriend." The room went still, the clock ticking loud in the sudden quiet. Evelyn set her fork down, deliberate. "Girlfriend." The word hung there, ugly and foreign. "Serafina, you know what this town is like. What people say. And after all I've sacrificed." Her voice cracked then, and Serafina saw it, the fear, not anger, the terror of losing the daughter she'd poured everything into. "Mom, I love her. That's all that matters." But Evelyn stood, her chair scraping back like a scream. "Love? You call this love? It's a phase, a mistake. You're throwing away everything for that." Angelica tried to speak, her voice gentle. "Mrs. Harrison, we don't have to." But Evelyn whirled on, her eyes blazing. You're the one poisoning her. Get out. Both of you. Now." Serafina rose, heart pounding. "Mom, please. This is my home. Evelyn's laugh was bitter hollow. Not anymore. Not if you're choosing this. Pack a bag and go before I call the sheriff. Tell him you're disturbing the peace or worse. I've got friends that they'll lock you up for the night, make you think twice. The door slammed behind them, the blizzard waiting like an old enemy. Serafina had grabbed only her coat, her sketchbook, her wallet, the essentials scattering like leaves in the gale. Angelica pulled her close, whispering, "It's okay, we'll figure it out," but the wind swallowed the words. They trudged to Angelica's beat-up Honda parked down the block, snow piling on the windshield. Inside, the heater sputtered to life, fogging the glass as they sat there shivering, not just from cold. Serafina leaned her head against the window, tears freezing on her lashes. "What now?" she whispered, voice breaking. "My whole life was here." Angelica started the engine slow, careful. "We drive. South maybe, or west? Anywhere but here." But as they pulled onto the empty road, headlights cutting through whiteout, Serafina glanced back the porch light, a faint accusation in the dark. Her phone buzzed. Mom again, a text that burned. "Don't come back until you fix this. Or I swear I'll make sure you regret it." She powered it off, hands shaking. Fix this. As if love was a broken vase you could glue back without the cracks showing. They drove through the night, the storm raging parallel to the ache in Serafina's chest. Billboards for megachurches blurred past promises of redemption she no longer believed in. Angelica hummed softly an old ranchera her abuela taught her something about enduring the frost. By dawn they crossed into Indiana, the snow thinning to slush under tires. Serafina slept fitful dreams of canvases burning, her mother's hands pushing her into endless white. She woke to Angelica pulling into a diner off I-80, the sign flickering, "All night eats," like a weary heartbeat. Inside, the place smelled of grease and coffee strong enough to wake the dead. They slid into a booth, vinyl cracking under them, menus sticky with syrup ghosts. The waitress, a woman in her 50s with tired eyes and a name tag reading Barb, poured refills without asking. "Rough night," she said, glancing at their rumpled clothes. "Blizzard got you good?" Serafina nodded, forcing a smile. "Something like that." As Barb walked away, Angelica reached across the table, her fingers lacing with Serafina's. "Talk to me," she said, soft. "All of it." Serafina sighed, the sound heavy in her throat. "It's not just tonight. She's always been protective. After Dad left, she worked 2 jobs, cleaned houses, scrubbed floors until her hands bled. For me. College tuition, art supplies, the house. And now this. She thinks I'm repaying her by spitting in God's face." Tears welled hot and unbidden. "I thought she'd see how happy you make me. How whole." Angelica squeezed her hand, thumb stroking the knuckles. "She will. Or she won't. But you can't carry her hurt like it's yours. You're allowed this, Serafina. You're allowed us." The words landed soft, but they stirred something fierce in Serafina's gut, a spark against the numb. She looked up, met those brown eyes steady as earth after rain. "Yeah," she whispered. "I am." They ate in quiet, eggs over easy toast, buttered thick, the normalcy a balm. Outside, the sky lightened gray to blue, the storm spent, leaving branches bowed under weight. Angelica checked her phone, work emails piling up, but she silenced it. "We need a plan," she said, practical as always. "My apartment's too small for too long term, and you're not going back there." "Not yet." "What about your dad? You ever reach out?" Serafina shook her head slow. "He left when I was little. Sent birthday cards for a while, then nothing. Lives in Seattle now, or so Mom says." "A ghost." Angelica nodded, thoughtful. "Okay then. Friends. That roommate from college, Lila, right? She's in Milwaukee, got that loft. We could crash there a bit, figure things out." Serafina hesitated, the idea of running further twisting like a knot. Milwaukee was close enough to feel like retreat, but far enough to breathe. "Yeah. Let's try." The drive north was easier, the roads plowed, radio crackling with weather warnings. Serafina sketched in her book quick lines capturing Angelica's profile, the way wind tousled her hair through the cracked window. "Beauty in motion," she murmured, earning a grin. By afternoon they crossed into Wisconsin, Lake Michigan, a silver thread on their left. Milwaukee rose gritty and alive, bridges arching over the river like veins. Lila's text came as they hit the city limits. "Door code's the same, crash as long as you need." Beer in fridge. Love you, weirdo. The loft was third floor, walk up, exposed brick and high ceilings, art supplies scattered like confetti. Lila hugged Serafina, fierce, no questions at first, just a raised brow at the tear stains. Spill, she said later over takeout pizza, steam rising in the cool space. Serafina did the whole ugly truth, her mother's rage, the blizzard, exile. Lila listened, legs tucked under her artist's smock, paint flecked like freckles. Shit, she said finally. Evelyn always was a fortress. But you're out now. Free. That's something. Angelica wandered the space, touching sculptures, half-formed clay figures twisting in eternal reach. It's perfect, she called. Space to breathe. That night they slept tangled on the futon, city hum a lullaby. Serafina dreamed not of snow but of color floods of it washing clean. Morning brought coffee, strong indecisions. Job hunt, she thought, staring at her reflection in the loft window. Can't live off Lilith's couch forever. Weeks blurred into a fragile rhythm in Milwaukee, the city's pulse sinking with Serafina's own hesitant beat. She pounded pavement, downtown galleries and cafes, sketching menus on napkins when interviews dragged. Angelica commuted south to her caseload, her shifts long but her texts constant anchors in the day. I miss your laugh. Come home safe. Love carved in pixels. Serafina replied with photos, quick studies of the lake at dusk, gulls wheeling like thoughts she couldn't pin. One evening mid-January the call came, shattering the calm. Unknown number, but she answered anyway, instinct prickling. Serafina Harrison, Evelyn's voice clipped, formal like reading from a script. Your accounts. Frozen. Until you come home and we talk this through. Serafina sat on the loft's fire escape, snow dusting the railing below. Mom, what? My savings, the emergency fund you set up. It's gone. Evelyn's paws stretched thin. For your own good. You need to see reason. Come back alone and it's yours again. The line went dead, leaving Serafina staring at the phone screen, cracked from the fall and the blizzard. Anger rose hot, then ebbed to hurt, a tide she couldn't outrun. Angelica found her there hours later, knees to chest, breath fogging the air. What's wrong, she asked, sliding down beside her, arms wrapping warm. Serafina handed over the phone, voice flat as she recounted. Angelica's jaw tightened, the social worker in her surfacing. That's financial abuse, Serafina. She can't just. We need to document it, talk to someone. But Serafina shook her head, weary. She's my mom. Shed spin it, say it's tough love. And the town. They'd believe her. Always have. They'd been whispering since high school about the girl with the boyish hair, the one who skipped prom for the art fair. Now this. Lesbian. The word still felt like a bruise, tender to touch. Angelica pulled her closer, lips brushing temple. Then we fight smart. Not her way. That fight came sooner than expected. A week later a knock rattled the loft door, late afternoon, Lila out at a critique. Serafina opened to find two deputies, faces stern under winter hats. MS. Harrison, Evelyn said, voice muffled through the wood. A welfare check. She hasn't heard from you. Fear spiked cold. She peered past them, saw the cruiser idling, snow swirling in exhaust. I'm fine, she called, steady as she could. Just visiting friends. The taller deputy stepped forward, notepad out. Your mother's worried, ma'am. Says you left upset, might taken something not yours. A family heirloom, her grandmother's locket. Serafina laughed, sharp, disbelieving. That's bullshit. I didn't take anything. Check my bag. But they pushed gentle but firm into the space, eyes scanning like she was suspect, not victim. Angelica arrived, then keys jangling, her shift cut short by a hunch. What's this, she demanded, voice steel wrapped in calm. Officers. They explained, terse, the call from Evelyn, concern for a vulnerable adult. Angelica crossed arms, her badge from the agency clipped to her coat. Social services. Mind if I see the report? The deputies exchanged glances, one radioing dispatch. She watched them like a hawk, questions probing. Date of the alleged incident. Exact description of the item. Witnesses. Serafina marveled at her, the way she dismantled their script piece by piece until the taller one sighed. Looks like a misunderstanding, ma'am. Well, follow up. Door shut, they collapsed against it, breaths mingling. That was close, Angelica murmured. She's escalating. Trying to force you back, drag you through the mud. Serafina nodded, throat tight. The locket. She does have it. Gave it to me for my 16th, said it was for the woman I'd become. Now it's leverage. Tears came, then silent tracks down cheeks. I hate this. Hating her for loving me wrong. Angelica held her there on the floor, loft shadows lengthening. We get ahead of it. File a report ourselves. Restraining order if it comes to that. And your money? There's ways. Legal aid trust she can't touch. Serafina looked up, search in her eyes. You think we can? Win? Angelica's smile was small, fierce. It's not about winning. It's about you standing tall. The next days were war council and whispers. Angelica pulled strings at work, connecting Serafina to a pro bono lawyer in the firm downtown, a no-nonsense type named Claire who'd handled worse than family feuds. They met in Claire's office overlooking the Milwaukee River, ice chunks floating lazy. Evelyn's playbook classic, she said, files open like a map. Control through isolation, then the hammer. But you're smart. Document everything. Text calls. And that account freeze? We petition the court, dissolve it quick. Serafina absorbed it all, notebook filling with dates, details, her artist's eye seeing patterns in the chaos. Back at the loft she painted feverish, a triptych of doors, one slammed shut, another ajar, the third wide to unknown light. Angelica watched silent, then joined her, brush in hand, adding strokes of gold to the edges. Together they made something from the wreck. But Evelyn wasn't done. Valentine's Day dawned, bitter, a card arriving, special delivery, no stamp, just her handwriting slashing across envelope. Inside a photo, them as kids, her and mom at the county fair, cotton candy smiles. Scribbled below, this is family. Come home or lose it all. Serafina crumpled it, but the damage seeped. That night at a quiet dinner, Angelica's treat at a harborside bistro, candles flickering on waves, she broke. What if she's right? What if I'm the one breaking us? Angelica set down her fork, eyes locking steady. Listen. Your mother's scared. Of change, of losing the version of you she built. But that's her cage, not yours. You're 28, an artist with a fire that lights up rooms. And me. She reached across table, palm up. We're real. That's the win. Serafina took her hand, felt the pulse sink. Okay, she breathed. Okay. They walked home, slow, snow falling soft, now a veil, not a weapon. In bed later, bodies close, Angelica traced the locket, chain still around her neck, empty but heavy. Tell me about it, she whispered. The real story. Serafina sighed, content for once. It was Dad's. He gave it to her before he left. Said it held his heart. She wore it until I was old enough, then passed it down. Said I'd know when to give it away. To the one. Angelica kissed her collarbone soft. Then it's yours to keep. Or give. When you're ready. Spring teased, early March winds carrying thaw. Serafina landed a gig part-time at a community center, teaching kids to paint their worlds, no judgments, just color. The room buzzed with tiny hands smudging blues into green, stories spilling in stick figures. One girl, 9, with braids tight, asked, do colors have feelings, Miss Sarah? Serafina knelt eye level. All the time. Red for mad, blue for sad, but mix them and you get something true. The girl nodded, grave, then hugged her quick, fierce. Angelica noticed the shift, the way Serafina carried herself, lighter, sketches blooming wild. They celebrated with a road trip weekend escape to Door County orchards, waking pink with buds. In a cabin overlooking Green Bay, they made love slow, unhurried, the windows fogged with breath. After entangled sheets, Serafina whispered plans. I want my own place. Small studio maybe. Build from here. Angelica propped on elbow, grinned sly. With room for 2. Serafina laughed, real, pulling her down. Yes. For 2. But back in Milwaukee the hammer fell. Court papers served at the center, mid-class. Evelyn versus Serafina Harrison, petition for emergency custody. Custody. At 28. The words blurred, ink running like tears. The deputies this time were kinder but firm. Your mother's claiming incapacity, emotional distress from the separation. Seeks temporary guardianship to protect assets and well-being. Serafina sat frozen, kids' voices distant. Angelica rushed over, phone buzzing with the news. This is insane, she spat to Claire on speaker. She's trying to have me declared incompetent. Claire cursed low. Classic escalation. We countersue. Defamation, emotional distress. But it's war now. That night the loft felt small, walls closing. Serafina paced, sketchbook forgotten. Shall ruin me. Tell everyone I'm crazy, the dyke who lost her mind. Friends in town hall side with her. The church group, the neighbors. Angelica caught her wrists, gentle. Then we go bigger. Media maybe. Or move. Start fresh. Serafina stopped, breath hitching. Move. The word tasted like freedom laced with ache. Where? Angelica's eyes lit. Portland. Or Austin. Somewhere queer as hell, art scenes thriving. I can transfer agencies. We build us. Dawn found them packing boxes, half full, dreams spilling over. But as Serafina taped the last, her phone rang. Mom. She answered, steel and spine. What do you want? Evelyn's voice cracked old. Come home. Please. Before it's too late. Serafina closed eyes, picture of the cabin fresh. No, Mom. It's time you come to me. Or let go. Click. The line died, but something in Serafina bloomed. The road south unspooled like a promise under tires, the Midwest giving way to rolling hills, then the sprawl of St. Louis arch gleaming silver against April sky. Serafina drove Angelica's car, windows down, wind whipping hair free, her sketchbook wedged beside maps scribbled with stops. Claire had bought them time, a temporary injunction freezing Evelyn's moves, the accounts unlocked pending hearing. But Serafina knew it was pause, not peace. She needed distance, miles to dull the pull. Angelica rode shotgun, playlist looping, indie folk voices raw as roots. They talked easy at first, dreams for the new city, Portland, she decided, rain-soaked streets, galleries hungry for her work. It'll teach, she said, fingers drumming wheel. Kids or adults, doesn't matter. Just create. Angelica nodded, humming along. And I'll case manage from a desk overlooking the Willamette. Home-cooked tacos twice a week. Date nights at food carts. But under the banter, doubt simmered. Night 1, they camped off Route 55, fire crackling under stars, Missouri dark thick as ink. Serafina stared into flames, seeing faces, her mother's, the deputies, the kids at the center had waved goodbye, confused. What if she follows, she whispered, embers popping. Files again, or worse, shows up at the door. Angelica added, with sparks flying. Then we face it. Together. But you're not running alone anymore. Serafina leaned into her shoulder, scent of pine and smoke. Yeah. Together. Oklahoma brought heat, dust devils dancing on plains. They detoured Tulsa, a queer center Angelica knew from conference friends, a brick building pulsing with flags, rainbows woven into brick. Inside, workshops thrummed, poetry slams, paint sessions. Serafina joined one, impromptu, her brush flying across communal canvas, strangers cheering as colors collided. For the first time in months she felt seen, not as broken but as brushstroke vital. Angelica watched from corner, phone to ear, with a Portland contact agency opening. It's real, she said later over diner pie, sweet tart. They want me. Start in June. Serafina grinned, fork midway. Then it's home. But Texas border brought storm, literal and not. Rain lashed the car, wipers slapping frantic as thunder grumbled. Angelica's phone lit. Claire. Bad news. Evelyn's pushing the hearing early. Claims new evidence you're unstable. Left job without notice, vanished. Could freeze travel. Serafina gripped, will knuckles white. Evidence. Like what? Claire's voice tinny. Letters to the paper, anonymous tips about your lifestyle influencing minors at the center. It's smear, but it sticks if we don't show. Angelica met Serafina's eyes, calm amid chaos. Pull over. Now. They idled under overpass, water sheeting glass. We record a video, she said, decisive. You speaking truth. Post it everywhere. Family friend's ex. Sure you're not hiding your healing? Serafina hesitated, camera shy, but nodded. They propped phone on dash rain symphony behind. Hi, she started, voice steady. I'm Serafina Harrison, 28, artist, daughter, teacher. And I'm gay. My mom kicked me out into a blizzard for loving a woman who saved me. Now she's trying to cage me legally because she can't control this. But I'm okay. More than okay. Watch this space. The camera caught her smile real fierce. Cut. Angelica uploaded it from a hotspot tagged sharp family rejection queer and free outwit the storm. By morning as they crossed into New Mexico, views climbed, thousands, shares rippling. Comments flooded, support stories echoing hers. One from a cousin shed, forgotten, saw this. Auntie is wrong. Call me. Serafina read aloud, tears mixing with awe. It's working. Albuquerque hummed, adobe warm against desert sun. They lingered a day, gallery hopping, Serafina selling 2 pieces on consignment, cash for gas and grace. That night in a motel, tiles cool under feet, Angelica drew her a bath, bubbles foaming. Soak, she said, kissing neck. You deserve soft. In the water, steam rising, Serafina traced scars on her own arms, faint from anxious nights pre-Angelica. You know, she murmured. I used to think love was quiet. Enduring. Like mom's stories of dad before he bailed. But this. Us. It's loud. Messy. Alive. Angelica knelt tubside, hand cupping cheek. Good loud. The kind that echoes. They pushed west, Arizona, red rocks rising like cathedrals. Grand Canyon detour, a swallowing word, Serafina sketching rims, layered time. Evelyn called, then number blocked, but Claire patched through speaker. She's backing off. The video went viral, local news picked it up. Towns talking, not all kind, but enough pressure. Hearing postponed. Indefinitely. Relief crashed waves, Serafina pulling over to sob into Angelica's shirt. It's over. Angelica's arms tight. Not over. Just beginning. California coast met them, fog-kissed cliffs, Highway 1 curving like a lover's spine. They camped, Big Sur, fireside stories swapping childhoods, Angelica's abuela's kitchen, spices thick with memory, Serafina's attic escapes, brushes as wands. Love deepened there in the salt air, touches, lingering promises whispered. Portland arrived, green-drenched June sun shy behind clouds. The apartment hunt yielded gold, a second floor walk up, Pearl District edges, exposed beams, rent split fair. Boxes unpacked, art on walls, Lilith's gift, a sculpture of intertwined forms watching over. First night they cooked paella, Angelica's recipe, saffron staining fingers. To us she toasted, glasses clinking. To outwitting storms. Work settled quick. Serafina at a co-op, gallery classes by day, private commissions nights. Kids called her Miss Sarah still, but now with pride, drawings taped to fridge. One boy, 12, shy with colors, asked, can I paint my dad's boyfriend? She grinned. Paint what you love, kid. It's yours. Angelica thrived, agency bustling, cases heavy but hopeful. Evenings they walked waterfront bridges, lights dancing on water, hands linked, no hiding. Pride month bloomed, flags everywhere, a march they joined, Rainbow River chanting. Serafina carried a sign, hand painted, love is not a crime, sweat beading brow, joy bubbling. But echoes lingered. A letter forwarded from Milwaukee, Evelyn's script shaky. Saw the video. Hurts, but I see you now. Not all. The locket enclosed, chain kinked from grip. Keep it or burn it. I'm trying. Serafina held it to chest, ache softening. Progress, she texted the cousin. Maybe. Summer deepened, heat waves rare but fierce. They escaped to the coast, Cannon Beach, waves crashing, haystack rock, sentinel. There on sand damp, Serafina knelt, locket open, empty still. Angelica. You caught me in the snow, held me when I shattered. This is yours. She fastened it around neck, gold warm on skin. Angelica's eyes welled, fingers tracing. I'll wear it always. Like you. They kissed, salt on lips, ocean roar, approval. Back in city life, wove tighter, friends gathered, dinners, laughter loud. Serafina painted a series, storms, series canvases, vast tempests yielding to calm. Opening night, crowd swelled, collectors nodding, whispers of genius. Angelica stood corner, proud, tears hidden. Fall brought change. Claire's call celebratory. Case dismissed. Evelyn dropped it all. Apologized in court even. Serafina laughed disbelieving. Apologized. Angelica hugged her from behind. You did that? Your voice. Winter whispered early first snow light not lashing. They watched from window flakes dancing free. Serafina turned in her arms. Thank you. For seeing me. Angelica smiled soft. Thank you for letting me. The year turned gentle Portland wrapping them in evergreen hush. Serafina woke some mornings to Angelica's humming kitchen clatter. Paella evolved to Portland fusion crab and kale surprises. Her studio grew corner of the apartment easel by window light filtering soft on works in progress. A new series bloomed. Roots series figures entwined not fractured soil rich with shared ground. Galleries clamored. One in Seattle offering show her first solo out of state. Angelica noticed the quiet shifts the way Serafina lingered over letters home tentative replies to Evelyn's slow thaw. Cards arrived now birthdays with pressed leaves from Elmwood maples turning. No visits yet but words warmed. Proud of you. Miss your art. Serafina read them aloud evening's voice catching on edges. It's weird she said once folding paper careful. Like she's learning me new. Angelica nodded stirring soup steam rising. Forgives take time. Like roots pushing through rock. They ate by candle cross-legged floor bowls balanced knees stories of days hers a client breakthrough a teen coming out safe his. Hers a girl in class painting her two moms hands holding. Joy layered simple profound. Christmas neared they debated travel but chose stay Portland lights strung bridges evergreens trimmed. A tree small fetched from lot branches drooping under ornaments handmade paper cranes from kids tags scrawled love notes. Serafina hung the locket replica sketched from memory gold foil glinting. For the family we choose she said fingers brushing Angelica's. Evelyn called Christmas Eve line crackling distance. Serafina answered heart light. Merry Christmas Mom. Pause then soft. You too honey. Saw your website. Those paintings. They're beautiful. Like you. Serafina swallowed lump. Thanks. Means a lot. Another beat. Can I see them? In person. Someday. Someday hung promise they talked neutral ground coffee maybe neutral city Chicago spring. Serafina agreed tentative. Yeah. Someday. The call ended hugs air kisses pixels but real. New Year dawned fireworks over river colors bursting. They watched rooftop borrowed from neighbors blankets wrapped cheers rising. Angelica's arm around waist. Resolution she asked breath warm ear. Serafina tilted head kiss soft. More of this. You. Us. Angelica grinned. Deal. Spring unfurled cherry blossoms pink confetti streets. Serafina's Seattle show loomed rehearsals nerves jangling. Angelica drove them north rain sheeting I-5 ever faithful. Gallery space vast white walls her pieces hung bold roots taking breath. Opening night crowd swelled critics murmuring buyers nodding. One older woman approached eyes keen. These speak she said touching frame light. Of finding home in another. Serafina smiled. Exactly. Angelica mingled corner glass and hand pride radiating. Later drive home quiet full they replayed moments her sale 3 pieces cash for dreams. You shone she said hand on thigh. Serafina laughed humble. We shone. Summer heat baked city food carts sizzling they picnicked Washington Park roses riot color. One afternoon lazy under oak Angelica shifted serious. Been thinking. About forever. Not just us but paper trails. Rings maybe. Or commitment ink. Serafina stilled pulse quick. You mean. Marriage. Angelica nodded ring box from pocket small velvet unassuming. If you want. Portland clerk queer friendly quick ceremony. Or Vegas kitsch. Or quiet us. Serafina tears instant yes tumbling. Yes all of it. They wed September under maples leaves turning gold backyard friends circle Lila flying in witness. Vows handwritten Serafina promising I see your storms and dance in them. Angelica I catch you every fall. Rings simple gold etched roots. Kiss-sealed cheers wine flowed night blurring stars. Fall deepened shows bookings steady Serafina adjunct now college campus queer club advisor. Kids sought her stories shared circles trust building. One evening after a tough session teen raw from rejection she came home quiet. Angelica waited tea steaming. Bad one. Serafina nodded sinking couch. Reminds me. That cold that empty. But she hugged him. His mom. Said she'd learn. Like maybe mine. Angelica pulled her close. You gave her that. Your voice rippling still. Evelyn visited November train from Chicago neutral as planned. Coffee shop neutral ground window steamed. She arrived bundled scarf tight eyes scanning nervous. Serafina rose hug stiff then softening. Mom. You came. They sat awkward at first small talk whether art. Evelyn sipped black studying hands. The video she said finally. Broke me. Seeing you hurt. Knowing I caused it. I'm sorry Serafina. For the door the cold the cage. I was scared. Of me without you. Serafina reached tentative fingers brushing. I know. It hurt. But I'm here. Rings glinted Angelica beside silent support. Evelyn noticed eyes widening. You're married. To her. Wife now Serafina corrected gentle. Angelica. Evelyn paused long then smiled small. She's lovely. Like you. They talked hours thawing stories old new. Evelyn shared her own losses dad's letters found after years pleas for forgiveness shed burned in rage. Now she understood fire. Departure hug real tears mutual. Right she said. Or visit. Elmwood spring flowers. Serafina nodded promise. We will. Winter returned snowlight Portland rare but welcome. They shoveled walks neighbors waving. One night fire crackling Serafina sketched Angelica dozing laplines soft. Love she thought not loud now but deep river steady. Years layered gentle. Show sold out books deals whispers. Angelica promoted director now voice for voiceless. They mentored bought house garden wild kids from center summer camps art and stories. One evening porch swing creaking sunset painting sky Serafina leaned head shoulder. Remember the blizzard she murmured. The kick. Angelica chuckled low. Best storm ever. Blew you to me. Serafina smiled locket catching light on Angelica's neck. Yeah. And we outwitted it. All of it. In quiet they sat world turning soft around them love not ending but echoing human fragile true.